Welcome back. Education remains the bedrock on which the state hopes to achieve the vision of running an economy independent from oil. Its commitment is reflective in the number of rehabilitated schools equipped for learning. And with its free education policy, there is no excuse for not having an educated population. Or so the government thought. Like an excerpt from the Jungle Book story, Prosper Akin is our Mowgli. The spot was his residence for years. A victim of child abuse, he found solace here. He left his education behind and became a hunter. But today, he sports a new look. Though he plays football for fun, Prosper hopes to play professional basketball someday. He's currently being coached in basketball outside school hours. Still too emotional to discuss the circumstances that led to his stay in the bush, 14-year-old Prosper says he is happy to be in a classroom once again.
I feel good that I'm back to school to study. So, as I'm back to school, I keep on trying my best.
What do you like about school? Is it the studies or the fact that you have to see your friends? And I hear you like playing basketball. Is it the fact that you like to play basketball? What's the best part for school for you?
It's to go to school and play my basketball, because without education, you can't play basketball. The time that I was in the bush, living in the jungle, I don't have clothes at all. But when she met me, she bought me new clothes.
How are you surviving?
I'm a hunter, man, because I used to study agri when I was in HS 1 year, before last 2 years ago. But that time, if I get money, 500, I'll buy shovel, cutlass, all those things, shoes. I'll go to the bush, I'll eat them.
You said in Jesus when you were here.
Yes, ma'am.
So why did you stop?
My dad is the one that stopped me school because of our family case with his uncle wife.
So do you think you can play for Nigeria someday?
Yes, ma'am. That is why I think to travel out to go and play for Lakers.
Lakers?
Yes, ma'am.
Big dreams.
His teacher, Mrs. Moa Valentine, began Prosper's reintroduction to normal life. She found him a home and a school. Unfortunately, Prosper was turned back from most schools he approached. Government's policy on compulsory and free education meant most classes were full.
He was in this school before, and we discovered that in fact, if he comes to school tattered, we have been inviting the father here in the school several times. We invited him, and in fact, there was a time teachers were really angry and wanted to even beat him up the way he was treating this child. So later now, we did not see the child again. So fortunately one day, I'm a PE sports, so I took our students for competition and I saw him. He was playing basketball very well, and in fact the coaches even wanted to make him one of the referees. So I started asking him, he was still looking tattered, rough and this, and I said, why is it that every time you are looking rough? So it was then that the coach told me that this boy is living inside the bush. Then in the evening, he will go to one booker and help them to serve food there. Then they will pay him, they will give him food. So that was how this boy has been surviving. So I said, okay, pack your things and follow me. So he now followed me. I changed his dresses. I bought him new dresses. I gave him new dresses. And I kept him in my house for some time. Then from there, I went to welfare. I reported the matter to welfare.
While Prosper's case may sound extreme, there are multiple cases of child abuse across the country. Despite the impressive turnout in most schools, sites like this are common across the state. Most families in the rural areas still see children as partners in the running of a home. To curb this, the government has launched an interventionist agency known as the Edumarshals. Their duty is to enforce compulsory education for all children in the state.
It's the child's right. It's their right to be educated. And it's sad that even parents don't know about this, because if they know, there are certain things they'll be fighting for and not the government being seen, the state government being seen as enforcing, because presently it's coming across as if we are forcing, but it is their right. So they actually should be the one trying to get us to do this for them. We had a lot of our kids trouncing, roaming the streets during school hours, and education is free in the state, Hence, we did not see a reason why kids should be trunting, hawking, just mucking about, going to the farm. You know, the list is quite long. And there is a Child Rights Act, which has been domesticated in the state. So now child rights law, which states that children under the age, or people, how do I say, yeah, children or learners under the age of 18, which is a child, must be in school, compulsory education for those group of learners. If nothing else, having the basic education, which will go a long way to bring about learning culture within the state. Because what Education Marshal, apart from the fact that we are trying to eradicate a street culture, which is having all these kids all about, and bringing about the learning culture, is we want to improve the school results. This can be improved if the kids don't attend and only attend when they want to do exams.
At inception, their duty was simple: pick up children from the streets and march them into classrooms. Today, the agency says it's dealing with much more than it bargained for.
You know, the marshals have, I would say, some have actually become education welfare officers, have become social workers, because we're getting involved in things we didn't think about. You know, like I told you, social problems which we know they are there, but we thought, okay, we're going to exclude ourselves, but it all ties in. So presently what they do, apart from the fact that it's not about the majority presently, it's about you get one child, you follow that child, make sure this child is registered, make sure, you know, maybe he has a pencil or pen, something to write with. So it's not just about saying, go back to school, or we take them back to school and then we drop them and disappear. No. In fact, we have quite a lot of case studies within the zone. So we have instances where kids who have failed and are told to repeat just disappear. And parents, his parents did not know he was not attending school.
The aim, of course, is to eradicate street culture on a daily basis, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We don't work outside of these hours, but because we've taken this as a responsibility, sometimes you find yourself asking questions Saturday and Sundays, even in church hours. So far we've had people that are facing admission problems, and we've had cases where Edumarshals have been assisting with school books, uniforms, sandals, and we have like a little contribution scheme that we're looking into. At the end of the month, maybe 5% or percentage of your salary, give it to someone. Let's help a child. So yeah, so far so good. Observations are good. In progress, we have progress reports on a daily basis. So yeah.
There are currently 67 marshals spread across 5 zones in Delta State. The agency hopes to increase this number in order to fight truancy and bring erring parents to book. While most parents claim ignorance about the child's rights law, the state says no excuse will be tolerated.
Within that law, there's quite a lot stated there actually, but the extract that I'm going to talk about, which covers what we're doing, is parents, any adult found to be offending via having a child of school age with them not in school will be sanctioned. It is there. There's 2 months imprisonment and there's 10,000 naira. It is there. So that's one of the reasons, you know, desensitization is really going on, so that people know that this thing is for real.
And it's something that has been ongoing, you know, through jingles, even the traditional village crier, you know. We've used all the modes of communication, and it's an ongoing thing. And we've been telling them, letting them realize that this is something they are doing for themselves. In fact, it's to make their tomorrow better by sending their children to school. And we'll not get tired of it. We'll continue. It's, we have a whole advocacy program for it. We actually have what we call information officers who are located in the communities, and they are the ones that take most of these kind of advocacy and sensitization programs to the people.
The private sector recognizes the efforts of the state government in building an educated populace and is making generous contributions towards education. With the influx of students in primary and secondary schools owing to the reinforced law on compulsory education, the quality of education offered at these schools is of concern.
I've witnessed a case where I went to bank and a young lad, probably maybe in his early 20s, asked me to kindly fill out. He was telling me his name, Stanley something. He couldn't write that. So, and I'm sure there are such similar cases all over. So we want that eradicated, at least people to be able to write their names, be able to add up 1 on 1, 1 plus 1, or yeah, we know there are people who haven't been to school and can do the additions, but there are certain things. The basic education is compulsory.
The Delta State Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the company Living Brands Integrated Projects, is organizing an inter-school competition. The competition will be used as a yardstick to measure the quality of education offered in these schools. The ministry hopes this will revive the reading culture in primary and secondary schools.
We noticed that amongst the elites in the society, we have a lot of people who cannot write reports, who cannot express themselves, who cannot give just a regular speech. And we noticed that it didn't just start when they got into offices or when they got employed. It started long before. So we said that the best way to be able to manage this was to go down to the grassroots and start from the base.
The maiden edition of the competition will be covering schools in the state capital Asaba for now. The company plans to expand its reach across the state in the coming years.